Hey everybody, I appreciate you joining us here on YouTube. Our rose channel goes about what's really going on in the rose garden, any tips, tricks I'm doing, but also what's happening with the roses. You can see we're on our second flush of blooms. They are smaller. That's Gemini, Randy Scott, Veteran's Honor, one of my favorite red roses. Doesn't have a fragrance, but man, it grows really well. This is going to be a real quick video, something exciting in the garden. If you saw recently my soil test video, one thing I saw during the soil test, it stinks that I'm having some issues with the roses themselves, but something that really excited me was as I was digging down into my garden, and let me get my glove on here for a second, let me set this down. But as I was digging in the garden itself, I saw something that I haven't seen a lot of before, and that's worms. So here's one right here. And you might say, well, Eric, I live up north. I dig into the soil and we have a tremendous amount of worms up here. There's a worm there. So multiple worms in the garden is a good thing. They help to aerate the soil. They produce in their waste good things for the soil. You can see another one there. So I'm ecstatic that I've got all these worms in here. And again, you folks in different parts of the country are probably laughing. You might say, well, Eric, again, I've got tons of worms in my soil. What's the big deal? When I started in these gardens, we didn't have anything, no worms at all. But through a couple years of compost, here's another one, through a couple years of compost and putting down organic types of fertilizer, our amount of worms in the soil have really skyrocketed. Here's another one. So very excited about that, because that means that the soil health is good. I might have some pH issues right now with regards to uptake of nutrients, but my overall environment that I'm creating for the roses is very healthy. I mean, I have 4 worms right there in the garden, and I'm not really digging for them. I was digging down to get a soil sample by my rose itself. So I told you it was going to be a quick video, but when you're putting down compost and then you're putting down mulch like this, it'll break down and produce humus, and it will produce an environment that is good not only for the rose, but for the earthworms. The more earthworms you have, better for the rose environment. So real excited about that. You can tell this particular bed, the growth on the roses, some of these are approaching 7.5 feet, and we're in the middle of June. That one is Let Freedom Ring, that is a firm. So we have plenty of time for these roses to continue to grow into the fall. So that's it, short and sweet. If you're new to the channel, that's what we talk about, what's happening in the rose garden. I did a video on testing your pH, and now as I'm digging around to take my samples, I was excited about the worms, so we're doing a video on it. Hope everyone's doing well, and we will talk to you again. Again, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already.